was a bright Saturday afternoon in Warri, Delta State. The sun was shining with full force as if it was trying to prove a point, and the breeze carried the delicious aroma of banga soup, coconut rice, peppered goat meat, and the rest. Children ran around, their laughter filling the air, while adults sat in small groups, enjoying children's and gossiping about things that were absolutely none of their business, from politics to neighborhood gossip. Mama Tega was celebrating her son's second-year birthday and she had gone all out. There were colorful balloons everywhere, a huge bouncing castle that looked sturdy enough to survive an earthquake, and an MC who had been shouting into the microphone non-stop, acting as if he was hosting a global event. The music was loud, the energy was high, and the food? It was more than enough to feed an entire village. Near the buffet table was Ejiro Mama Tega's best friend. She carefully balanced her plates as she pied it with coconut rice and fried snails. Just as she was about to grab an extra piece of goat's meat, a deep voice spoke behind her. "The food smells amazing." She turned around to see a tall, well-dressed man in a neatly pressed traditional outfit smiling at her. He had an air of confidence, like someone who had never experienced embarrassment in his life. "Yes, it really does," Ejiro replied, smiling back. "I am Osaho," he said, extending his hand. "Ejiro," she replied, shaking his hand. "Do you know Mama Tega?" Osao grinned. "Not really. I just heard there was free food, so I decided to come and investigate." Ejiro burst into laughter. "You seriously crashed a child's birthday party just for food?" Osao scrooged. "Why not? A party is meant for everyone, isn't it?" "I suppose you have a point," Ejiro admitted, shaking her head. "So what do you do for a living?" "I solve problems," Osao said with a completely straight face. Ejiro raised an eyebrow. "That's very vague. What kind of problems, if I may ask?" "I face accommodation problems. You can call me house agent," Osao replied, scooping more meat into his plate. "And sometimes I help people negotiate with the electricity company to ensure they get power supply in their houses." Ejiro folded her arms. "So you are saying you bribe them?" "Well, I wouldn't call it a bribe," Osao said, smiling. "I prefer to call it an appreciation package." Ejiro laughed and shook her head. "You have a way with words, I must admit. Well, I am a hairdresser. If you ever need a change of style, I can make you look like a movie star." Osawa rubbed his chin as if he was considering it. "Can you give me dreadlocks?" With your head shape, sir, I don't think so. A simple low cut will suit you best." They continued chatting, sitting under a canopy while eating, laughing as if they have been friends forever. Every now and then, the MC's voice will interrupt their conversation with dramatic announcements. "Excuse me, someone has taken my shoe. I left it under my chair just a few minutes ago and now it is gone. This is a birthday party, not a convention of thieves." Ejiro and Osaho exchanged amused glances before bursting into laughter again. The party was loud, the food was delicious, and the company was perfect. It was the kind of Saturday that made life feel good. Osaho and Ejiro left the party that evening still laughing over the missing shoe announcements. The sun was beginning to set. The streets were buzzing with life, hawkers shouting their prices, keke drivers honking impatiently. As they walked towards where they had parked, Osao turned to Ejiro with a smile. I really enjoyed talking to you today. You were so funny. You made everything look so good within seconds. Can I have your number? Ejiro hesitated for a moment, pretending to think about it. Then finally she smiled and gave him her phone number. Don't start calling me at midnight to ask if I've eaten, oh, she warned playfully. No problem, Osao said, quickly saving her number. I will only call you at 11:59 p.m. At least that's not midnight. Ejiro rolled her eyes but couldn't stop herself from laughing. A few weeks later, Ejiro didn't expect Osao to be so consistent. Every day, he would call or text. Sometimes, just to check if she had eaten or to tell her a funny story about his day. One evening, while she was at her salon twisting a customer's hair, her phone rang. Hello, she answered, tucking the phone between her shoulder and ear. Good evening, my personal hairstylist, Osao's voice came through. Ejiro smiled. Good evening, house agents. They both laughed and talked about their day in Wafi language. As the weeks went by, they started seeing each other more often. Osao took her out to fun places like Warimo, Delta Leisure Park, and even once to a fancy restaurant where Ejiro stared at the menu for 5 minutes before whispering, why is everything here expensive? Do they cook here with gold? Osao laughed and told her to order whatever she wanted. Soon they became inseparable. One evening, Mama Tega, who had been watching their relationship closely, patted Ejiro on the back. My friend, you deserve a good man, and Osao is a good man. Please don't let him go. Ejiro laughed. Mama Tega, it's not like he's going anywhere. I am just saying, Mama Tega said, lowering her voice. This one is different. Not like those boys that just come, eat your food, waste your time, and disappear like NEPA lights. Ejiro rolled her eyes, but deep down, she knew Mama Tega was right. Osao was different. He was kind, funny, and most importantly, he didn't stress her life. 1 year later, they got married. Their wedding was a big celebration, the kind that made neighbors peep through their windows, wondering if a celebrity was getting married. The food was endless. Jollof rice, banga soup, fried snails, fried rice, and small chops that disappeared from the trays faster than they could be served. Ejiro felt like the luckiest woman alive. Osaho's family welcomed her warmly, especially his younger sister Evie. One day, Evie pulled her aside and said, Ejiro, I am so happy you are here, but I want you to know I don't joke with my brother. Take very good care of him for me. Ejiro laughed. Don't worry, Evie. I will make sure he eats well and never gets sick. They both laughed and life felt perfect. 3 months into their marriage, Ejiro was at her salon busy twisting a customer's head when her phone rang. It was Osaho. Hey babe, she answered. Hey my love, my sister Evie is coming to stay with us for a few days. Oh, that's fine. I hope everything is okay with her. She and her husband had a small issue. She just needs time to clear her head before going back. Ejiro nodded. No problem. She's always welcome. In her mind, she expected Evie to stay for just a few days. She had no idea what was coming. At first, Evie was a model guest. She arrived at the home in Warri that evening with a small suitcase, a sweet smile, and a voice so soft that could make you believe she was an angel. Thank you for having me, Ejiro, she said, hugging her tightly before turning to her brother with a warm expression. You are most welcome. This is your home too, Ejiro replied, returning the smile. For the first few days, everything was fine. Ivy was polite, neat, and even helped around the house. But then the real Ivy started to reveal herself slowly like a mosquito buzzing in the dark. One Sunday, Ejiro was enjoying a quiet evening when Ivy suddenly stood in front of the television. She ran her hand over the screen and inspected it like a detective searching for fingerprints. Ejiro, this TV is too dusty now. What kind of wipe do you use? Ejiro looked up confused. Just a clean cloth and some spray. Besides, we are in Hamatan season and you know how dusty this period can be. Evie sighed dramatically as if she had just discovered a major health crisis. No wonder. My friend, forget about the Hamatan season. You need premium wipes. Maybe I will send you the name of the one I use in my own house. Cleanliness, they say, is next to godliness. You should keep that in mind always. Ejiro blinked. Okay, oh. She bit her tongue and let it go. After all, Evie was just staying for a few days, or so she thought. The next week, Ejiro was in the kitchen making stew when Evie walked in and wrinkled her nose like a rich madam who had just entered a crowded bus. Eh? Is this how dirty you are in this house? Ejiro paused mid-step. Excuse me? Yes, now. See how dirty where you are cooking is, Evie announced. You should always clean up so that my precious brother will not fall sick. She shook her head dramatically. I warned you earlier that I don't joke with my brother. Ejiro inhaled deeply. Okay, madam, but this is only splatters and I will clean up immediately with detergent and water when I am done. Detergent? Evie gasped as if she had just heard a terrible crime. You are still using detergent in this age and time? My brother is in big trouble. Don't you know detergent isn't good enough? Go online and search for the right cleaner. Thank God for AI. You can always ask them. Ejiro clenched her jaw. She was beginning to suspect that this was no ordinary visit. Rather, this was a mission. One morning of Ivie's stay, Ejiro was in the kitchen frying akara when Ivie walked in and gasped in horror. You are frying akara with vegetable oil, she exclaimed. Do you want my brother to have cholesterol problems? You need to use cold pressed virgin coconut oil. That's what I use. Ejiro stared at her, then at the bubbling akara, then back at Ivy. Cold pressed what? Coconut oil. It's healthier, please. From today, my brother should not eat this poison you are frying. Ejiro took a deep breath and then smiled sweetly. Evie, Evie, Evie. How many times have I called you? Would you like me to return the same energy you are dishing out? No, I'm only trying to help, Evie said, waving her hand. Ejiro turned back to her Akara, whispering under her breath, help that will soon send me to the hospital. If you were this good, then why the problem between you and your husband? That night, Ejiro lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Osao turned to her. You have been so quiet. Are you okay? Ejiro sighed. Your sister is turning me into her personal projects. Osao laughed. Ivia can be like that sometimes, but in all, she means well. She means wahala, Ejiro snapped. She said I should stop frying akara with vegetable oil and start using coconut oil. Coconut oil for akara. Next thing now, she would tell me to be boiling yam with one of this bottled water. Osawo chuckled. Don't worry, my wife. She won't stay here forever. It's just to cool her head off for some time. Ejiro took a deep breath and whispered, to cool her head off and cause me to have headache in my own husband's house? I am saying this now because if she stays too long, only God knows what will happen in this house. Osao wisely said nothing. The next morning, Ejiro sat at the dining table fully focused on eating her food, as if it was the only thing stopping her from committing a serious crime. She had tolerated Evie's endless complaints, unsolicited advice, and judgmental sighs for more than 2 weeks. But today, it was different. Evie took a taste of the banga soup and starch, and immediately she frowned, smacking her lips so loudly, looking around as if someone had just insulted her ancestors. Ejiro, wait. You mean you cooked this banga soup without periwinkles? She gasped like she had just discovered a crime scene. Ejiro looked up slowly. Periwinkles? Yes. You don't put periwinkles in your banga soup? Ah, Osao, my brother, likes it with periwinkles because our mother always made sure of that. Osao, who had been quietly eating, suddenly became very interested in his phone. Evie placed a dramatic hand on her chest. Maybe it's just me, but this soup is tasting somehow. I can't eat banga soup without periwinkles. Please, let me just go to the market and buy some before I faint here. Ejiro took a slow, deliberate sip of water before replying. Evie, it is banga soup, not seafood festival. If you want periwinkles, feel free to bring them. I will even put them in your own separate pots. Evie gasped. Ejiro, how can you even say that? Osao, talk to your wife, oh. Osao cleared his throat and continued scrolling on his phone. Ejiro resisted the urge to throw his phone into the soup. Evie sighed dramatically and shook her head. What Ejiro didn't know was that Evie had another strategy, which was Operation Report to Mommy. That afternoon, while Ejiro was sorting laundry, she overheard Evie whispering in the next room. Mommy, I don't think Ejiro knows how to keep a home, Evie sighed dramatically. She doesn't even cook well. She doesn't take care of Osaho properly. Ejiro pops, gripping Osaho's shirt like it was a stress ball. Mommy, can you imagine? This morning we ate banga soup and she didn't even put periwinkles. Osaho used to love it though, but now he's just managing. He cannot even talk. I feel sorry for my brother. Ejiro clenched her jaw as she kept on listening. And mommy, this girl is something else. My brother is in a big mess. Ejiro rolled her eyes. If Evie's dramatics were any worse, Nollywood producers would be calling her for a lead role. I am not saying you should call her, Evie continued, lowering her voice. I am just telling you because I love my brother. I don't joke with him. Mommy, you know that now. Ejiro took a deep breath and muttered under her breath. God, I beg, my follow come patience. E don't finish. And the only thing I am thinking right now is to buy Evie a troublesome one-way ticket out of this house. The next morning, Ejiro knew she needed backup. She picked up her phone and scrolled through her contacts. She found the number she was looking for and hit the dial. It was her younger brother. Hello? A deep dramatic voice answered. Efe, my guy, Ejiro said, forcing a cheerful tone. Ejiro, I was just thinking about you. In fact, I good because I have a very special invitation for you, Ejiro interrupted. There is someone in my house who needs to experience your presence. Ejiro, which of my presence are you talking about? The peaceful one or the bass? Ejiro grinned. Just come over. My sister-in-law has vowed that we not drink water and drop the cup peacefully in my own house. Say no more. I am on my way, Efe replied. She ended the call and muttered, This is going to be fun. Ivy, I already feel sorry for you. An hour later, the sound of a keke nakep screeching to a stop echoed in the compound. The door burst open and Efe entered like a one-man squad. Ladies and gentlemen, he announced, even though only Ejiro was in the living room. The life of the party has arrived. Ejiro quickly signaled towards the staircase where Osao's sister Ivie was descending with the grace of someone who had no plans to leave anytime soon. Ivie had barely glanced at Efe before she asked, Who is this one? Efe gasped, clutching his chest as if he had been shot. You don't know me? Me, the minister of vibes and the senior advocate of Wahala? Ivy blinked. Okay, and what are you doing here? Efe turned dramatically to Ejiro. My sister, this now waiting you they go through? This her welcome address to me, your brother, has shown that you have been through a lot, and a lot had been through you. But not to worry, if it don't show. Ejiro grinned. Welcome, my gallant brother. This is your sister's house, so you have every right to be here. Efe immediately got comfortable. I mean too comfortable. First, he turned on his personal speaker. You know all these big MP3 speakers that sound like horn speakers hung around the mosque? My G blasted music that shook the walls. My favorite song, he yelled, jumping onto the couch. Ivie, dance with me. Ivie frowned. Are you mad? Partially, oh, Efe shouted back, still dancing. Then he unwrapped a mute gun and started chewing so loudly like a night walker who is standing at the junction waiting for her clients. Ivy wrinkled her nose. Must you chew like that? Madam, leave. Let me leave, Efe said, smacking his lips. You should try some too, stretching out his hand. It will at least reset your thinking faculty. Ivy turned away in disgust, but the final straw came at night. While she was in her room trying to relax, Efe started practicing his talk show host voice in the hallway. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Why is Ivy Still Here? Tonight, we investigate. Does she have a house, a husband, a job, or is she a professional squatter? Efe! Ivy screamed from her room. Ejiro and Efe burst into laughter. The next morning, Ivy came downstairs with her bags packed. I am leaving, she announced. I can't stay in this house anymore with someone who escaped from Yabatek. Ejiro put on her best shocked face. Ivy. Why? What happened? Come on, you know what happened, Ivy snapped. Just then, Efe walked in like an innocent toddler. My dear, are you leaving already? I was about to teach you how to shaku. Ivy grabbed the bag. She don't see waiting pass her. Osao finally appeared, rubbing his eyes. Ivie, are you leaving? Yes, Osao. Congratulations, you have your house back. Ejiro clapped a hand over her mouth to suppress a giggle. Osao frowned. But I thought you were staying for Osao. Don't talk to me, Ivie interrupted. You let your wife and her crazy brother torture me. Efe gasped. Torture? I gave you premium entertainment. Please, oh, don't underrate my talents. Ivie shot him a deadly glare before storming out. Ejiro let a sigh of relief. At last, Efe sighed dramatically. My work here is done. My all-in-one brother. You are a national treasure. Ejiro appreciated his brother so much, and within 30 minutes, Ife was gone. And just like that, peace returned to the house. Or maybe so Ejiro thought. The next morning, at exactly 6:02 a.m., a loud knock shook the front door. Bum, bum, bum. It was not a normal knock. It was the type of knock that carried intention. The type that said, open this door now or I will break it down. Ejiro and Osaho, who had barely opened their eyes, exchanged a worried glance. Who is that? Ejiro mumbled, still wrapped in her blankets. Osaho sighed. He dragged himself to the door, and there, standing in all his overconfident glory, was Chawuko, his younger brother, the destroyer of joy, the reason Peace is about to pack his bags and relocate from their house. Big bro, he bellowed, stepping in like he owned the place. I know you are still sleeping, oh, but it is what it is. Before Osao could stop him, Chawuko has located a room for himself, singing loudly like people doing adverts in Ibudu markets. Ejiro shot up from the bed in alarm. Who is that again? Osao rubbed his temples. That's my younger brother. Within the first hour of his arrival, Chawuko had connected his phone to the Wi-Fi without asking, finished the food he met in the kitchen, and left his boxers hanging in the bathroom like it was a flag of conquest. This was another shade of Wahala. The couple stood in the living room watching Chawuko comfortably stretched out on their couch, one hand inside his pockets, the other one strolling through his phone. So Chawuko, Osawo called cautiously. How long do you plan to stay? He looked up with a devilish smile. Bro, just a little time, maybe 1 month or 6. Ejiro choked on air. 6 months? Chawuko laughed. Sister Ejais, don't worry. I am like plantain chips. Once you get used to me, you won't want me to leave. Ejiro and Osaho exchanged a silent conversation with their eyes, worth more than a million words. The real trouble began when Chawuko started hosting visitors. At 10 p.m. that night, Ejiro heard loud laughter coming from the living room. She stepped out to see 3 guys in her house, drinking her juice and eating chin-chin like they paid rent. Auntie Jais, meet my guys. Ejiro gasped. No, not Chawuko. I can't take this. Osao walked in, rubbing his eyes. Chawuko, my wife and I need to sleep. We had a long day. Besides, it's late. No wahala, bro. We will keep it down. The keeping it down lasted exactly 2 minutes before one of them started rapping at full volume like he was on an audition and the rest applauding his nonsense. Ejiro whispered, You need to make him leave or I do so. My dear wife, I can't tell my own brother to leave my house. Please bear with him. It's part of marital sacrifices virtuous women make. Ejiro didn't say jack. She simply had a plan in mind, so she turned to the other side and slept like a newborn baby. The next day, she woke up by 4 a.m., grabbed the bell, and blasted the sound of a church revival into Chawuko's room. He fell out of his bed screaming, "Ah, Jesus, who died?" Ejiro stood over him. "It's morning devotion time." "Morning devotion? By 4 a.m.? "Yes," she replied. They got to the living room after so many back and fronts. She sang as if it was a worship service and then led prayers like it was a revival program. When she was done, she handed him a Bible. "Read Psalm 119, the whole thing." Chawuko blinked. "From verse 1 to 176? She smiled. "Yes, my dear. Read it out loud because it is our anchor scripture for today." By the time Chawuko finished, his voice was gone. Children of God, Ejiro, the madam of the house, wasn't done. This time, she doesn't need the intervention of Ife, her brother. She changed the entire menu of the house. For breakfast, pap with no sugar and milk. For lunch, boiled rice with tomatoes ketchup. And for dinner, vegetable salads. After 2 days, Chawuko begged, "Auntie Ejice, please, can I just smell soup? Like just a sniff." Madam of the house shook her head. "No, sir, we are dieting." Meanwhile, she was busy eating good meals. Chawuko's spirit was shaking, but he was still stubborn. He still didn't leave because of the free Wi-Fi. Ejiro had to change the password. Chawuko almost fainted when he noticed. "But what is going on in this house, hey?" he asked. "Nothing, eh? We are only cutting costs," Ejiro replied. That night, Chawuko knocked on the bedroom door looking weak. "Big bro, Sister Ejice, I have been thinking." Ejiro smiled. "Yes? I think it's time to pack my bag and baggages." Ejiro rejoiced within her soul. Finally, the chaser had been chased. The next morning, Chawuko packed his bags and according to his words, he went back to where he came from. Later that day, Ejiro was in her salon staring at her phone in shock. Guess what? Chawuko had reported her to his mother, adding mangi and crayfish to the story, and her mother-in-law believed him. All she did was to shout over the phone, telling her that she came for marriage and not to bring enmity between her sons. As Ejiro returned home, her husband noticed an unusually cold shoulder. "Babe, what's wrong?" he asked. "Your brother reported me to your mother," Ejiro replied. "Reported you? For what exactly?" "If he had told her what I did, then there won't be any wahala at all. But he told her things that I never did." Osao burst into laughter. "Babe, you sef, make we talk true. You did a lot. You know in our house we don't joke with food because food is important." Ejiro's eyes widened. "Osao, can you hear yourself at all? I said your brother told the headquarters things that I didn't do. If he had said I fed him with pap and the rest, I will gladly own up. After all, I was only helping him because he was beginning to breathe heavily after a few steps, just because of excess fats." "All right, calm down. I will talk to everyone later," Osawa said. But Ejiro wasn't convinced because she had been hearing the same "I will talk to everyone" since Ivie's incident and nothing changed. For a few days, she enjoyed the silence in her own house. No dramatic phone calls, no whatever. Then the next visitor arrived. She returned home from her salon that evening, only to meet her mother-in-law waiting outside for her. She frowned because her husband traveled for a business seminar. Not today, she whispered under her breath. Her mother-in-law was dressed like Mama G. She removed her sunglasses dramatically. Ejiro forced a smile. Good evening, Mama. I didn't know you were coming. Welcome. Her mother-in-law ignored her and walked in, spinning around the living room like a landlady inspecting her property. You didn't even change anything. Even this rug is still here. I thought you upgraded my son's house, and just maybe that was why you made her uncomfortable for his siblings. You are a bad wife because in the mouth of two, the truth is established. Chawuko and Ivie can't just pick up what they said about you from the moon. Ejiro was just quiet as she could sense trouble. Her mother-in-law sat down. Where's my son? Or have you chased him out too? He's not around, Ma, and he won't be home today. Mama Saho gasped like Ejiro had just confessed to burning down the family home. Ejiro, so you have succeeded in making my son's house unbearable for him, that he no longer sleeps at home? Mama, but I haven't finished. He went for a business seminar. You can call him to confirm. She was beginning to get upset, and so she excused herself. But then she was beginning to suspect she's been married into a family of professional stress distributors, and the battle was far from being over. When she got into her room, she called her husband and told him about his mother's presence. The only thing he said was, "Make sure my mother is comfortable." The next morning, she served her breakfast, and there was nothing her mother-in-law didn't say about the food. Yet, she left no crumbs in the plate. Osao returned home after a successful business seminar trip, and we watched his mother talk down on his wife and then extend it to her mother. She will complain about her food, complain about how she works. She practically became a thorn on Ejiro's flesh. Ejiro thought of inviting Efe over again, but then Efe doesn't tolerate nonsense at all and will not mind beating Mama Osaho blue-black and then cause unsettlable disputes between the both families. She scrapped that thought off her mind, relocated to the visitor's room since her husband and his people treated her like one. She didn't stop there. She bought a camp gas and what she called essentials, took them all to her salon, and then rescheduled her time. She wakes up at exactly 6 a.m., dashes into the bathroom, and off she goes to her salon. She returns exactly 10 p.m., locating her bed. But this was never done without her locking her room door. One day, her husband confronted her, and her answer was simple and short. "Oga, marry your mother." This went on until Saho became overwhelmed with the happenings and decided to seek professional help because he was truly losing his mind. And Ejiro on her part was firm like Zuma rock. She lived like Osaho doesn't exist, making sure that no one trespasses into her boundaries until he learns to become a better husband. One fateful Saturday, Osao found himself in a counselor's office. He narrated only his good parts, trying to paint his wife black like it was all her fault. The counselor, who is widely experienced and had seen his type countless times, just needed to ask 3 questions and get hold of the truth. And when she did, she then asked the Oga Bata of all questions. "Osao, be honest with yourself. If your wife had treated you the way you treated her, will you still be in that house?" He swallowed hard and then replied, "I don't know." "Oh, you do know," the counselor said. "You just don't want to say it." Osawa sighed, guilt weighing him down. He had been blind to the truth. He had failed his wife in every way possible, choosing his family's opinion over her, ignoring her pain, and worst of all, expecting her to tolerate it. But the worst part, he didn't even realize what he had until she was emotionally gone from him. He leaned his head against the table. I have been a fool. The counselor's voice cut through again. Osao, fix this before someone else does. His eyes snapped open. Someone else? That was all the motivation he needed. He still loves his wife and he wouldn't want her in someone else's arms. He appreciated the counselor and left. Ejiro, my girl, was in a salon enjoying her peace with a plate of hot jollof rice when her husband walked in. She rolled her eyes and then composed herself. What do you want? Ejiro, please, we need to talk. I am busy, Ogasa. Busy doing what? Osawo asked. Busy eating and breathing in fresh air that is not mixed with unnecessary stress, she replied. Osawo exhaled. Babe, please, just hear me out. Ejiro hesitated. Something in his voice sounded different. Fine, she said. You have few minutes. Osao started sweating like someone who had just run from Ugili to Warri on foot. He sat down. Ejiro, my dear wife. You have 5 more minutes, she said, scooping a piece of meat into her mouth. Osao took a deep breath. I was wrong. Ejiro raised an eyebrow. What? I was wrong, he repeated. I should have defended you. I should have stood by you. I shouldn't have allowed my family do what they did to you. Ejiro nearly choked on her food. Go on, she demanded. Osao continued. I let my family stress you, and I didn't listen when you needed me. I let my mother interfere. So what changed? Ejiro asked. My head. You don't correct. Ejiro burst into laughter. Osao grabbed her hand. My dear wife, let's return to that loving and laughing couple, the one who shared the same bed and ate together. She stared at him for a long moment. On one condition. Anything at all, my love. Okay, no more uninvited visitors. And for your mom, she has to leave, Ejiro demanded. Dawn, agreed and sealed. Your happiness comes first, Osaho assured. Ejiro studied his face. He looked like a man who had finally understood what marriage truly meant. She sighed. Fine, but if this thing happens again, you won't even see me in worry, not to talk of sharing the same roof with me. God forbid, oh, it will happen again. It's me and you forever. Forever is you and me, Osao replied. This made Ejiro to smile. So does that mean I get to eat some of your food? I am seriously hungry, Osaho said. You are not just hungry, but you are suffering. See your neck. One egg can confidently fit in there. I agree, my madam. I beg, serve me food, make a chow. She served him, and Osao rushed the food like someone who just escaped from Kirikiri. He knew one thing for sure, that he would never take her for granted again. Hey, African Tales by Karma Tribe, how are you all doing? I know you enjoyed the story as much as I did. Before I go today, I would like to drop this. Marriage is not just between two people. It is a commitment to stand together against anything or anyone that threatens that bond. A wise man knows that protecting his home does not mean choosing between his family and his wife. It simply means creating a balance where love, respect, and boundaries exist. Because at the end of the day, when the guests leave, when the family goes back to their homes, it is your partner who remains by your side. So if you are a man listening to me and you have this notion that your wife is not your family, Oga, you are wrong. And the sooner you rate her, the better for you. May God help us that our marriages will not fail in this end time. in the name of Jesus. Until I bring another exciting story your way, it is a goodbye from here, and God bless you.